Welcome to SoCal Sports Report's Quick Blasts. I am John Stillman, joined by Vince Morales. Our target, the Dodgers. Vinny, you want to get us started?
Well, first of all, the lockout is happening, and so there's not much going on at this point. So we won't be seeing any deals or trades until the collective bargaining agreement is settled, and the owners are dealing with the start dealing with the union again. I got a note from the Dodgers, an email saying last night the collective bargaining agreement between the MLB and the Players Association expired, despite MLB's best efforts to negotiate, which I think is a lot of horse crap, because I heard it was 7 minutes long and they walked out. So the owners have locked them out, and so nothing's going to happen in the meantime. But thankfully, the Dodgers signed Chris Taylor, which I think they desperately needed after losing Corey Seager to the Rangers for 10 years and $325 million. So that was huge. And Scherzer, of course.
Yeah.
But losing, and then Muncy with what we had not heard before. We thought that he just had a dislocated elbow, and now we hear in his interview with Lana Rizzo a few days ago that he has a UCL tear, which is not good news for the Dodgers. And so now they look like a whole new team now.
Yeah, that was quite a surprise. And like I say, I don't know if they wanted to keep it hidden or nobody bothered to investigate, but yeah, that's quite a shocker. He's a key part of that offense. You know, he can play, and also he can give you help at first and second base. So that was a critical loss. I was really glad to see them get Chris Taylor under the wire there. They could not have afforded to lose him. Let's talk about Seager for a minute.
Yeah, it's a good deal too, by the way. I just going back to Taylor, it's a good deal, better than I expected. They offered him, 1 year at $18 million as a qualifying offer, and then they got him for 4 years at $60 million, which I think is a bargain.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. Let's figure out. There's no way. Do you think there's any possibility they could have signed Seager? That's a lot of money. With $32 million a year, the problem is they've got Trevor Bauer's contract tied up. They don't know what's going on there. I doubt that he'll ever pitch for the Dodgers again, but they're still paying him, and that doesn't help in the negotiations.
Yeah, right now the Dodgers are at $214 million, which would be right at the luxury tax. I think the threshold, the luxury tax competitive balance threshold. They had offered before the season and had gone aggressively after Seager all year. So offered him 8 years, $250 million. So that is almost 30. That's more than $30 million a year. So I think the Dodgers were really close. I think for Seager, it was really some semantics there. Perhaps they were talking to him about moving to third base. Maybe that's not what he wanted to do. Obviously having Trey Turner maybe made him think that he was dispensable. I really don't know what the reasoning was there. I don't understand it, but the Rangers sure decided to open their pocketbooks for Seager and for Marcus Semien, and that is quite a formidable lineup that they will be fielding next year.
Yeah, they got the other shortstop from Toronto, Semien, who I guess will play second base for him. They've really gone to town. The Rangers and Seattle. Seattle's done a huge job of spending money and bringing players in. Let me ask you one thing about the Dodger rotation now with the Scherzer.
What rotation?
It's the former rotation.
Yeah.
With Scherzer gone, and we still don't know what's going to happen with Clayton Kershaw.
Or Bauer, or Bauer, right?
True.
I don't think Kershaw is going to be ready, frankly. And I think he's going to be a shell of himself. he cannot be dependent on for a slot in the rotation. Trevor Bauer, I think the Dodgers are just hoping to make that a clean break. For him to get suspended and knock that that $30 million contract off of their books. I think that's exactly what they're hoping for. I'm not sure what happens in the meantime. I don't think any decision will come until after the lockout is decided from MLB. But without Bauer, who I don't think will ever pitch again for the Dodgers and may never pitch again in the majors, and without Kershaw, they lost Scherzer. And I want to talk a little bit about what Scherzer has gone on record and said about how the Dodgers used him in a bit.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that today.
But right now, the Dodgers rotation is really not a rotation at all. It's Buehler and Urias, and that's it. They can't. There's no reason that they'll be able to count on Kershaw, I don't think. And Bauer, even though he's technically on the team, it will not be there. So it's Gonsolin and White, Dustin May. And that's another thing that this lockout does. It complicates Dustin May's rehabilitation from his arm surgery this past year, because he's locked out from all facilities, right?
Exactly.
So he can't rehabilitate. I worry about him and Muncy, what's going to happen with them. So right there now you can eliminate May. And so the Dodgers, once they get back on track and the lockout ends, which who knows, it could be a protracted stalemate. I just don't know what the Dodgers are going to do. They're going to have to take a run at a couple of starters.
There's not a lot left out there, but there still are a few. I can't believe, that this lockout. I mean, they started negotiating, I think last spring. I mean, you can't get something figured out in 11 months. It just seems unbelievable that, put them in a room and lock the door and wait till they can come to an agreement before you let them out. I mean, 11 months, people can't make concessions on either side. I mean, that just seems unreasonable to me. I can't understand. I mean, everybody's going to lose. The players are going to lose. The owners are going to lose. What's going to happen to TV rights? They're going to lose some money there probably if games aren't televised. I just don't understand why grown, mature adults can't figure something out in 11 months.
Yeah, and again, it's the reason why this stuff doesn't happen, but every 20 or 30 years, right? Cooler heads will prevail. They always do. It's one of those things that it's a tool that they have in their tool belt, right? The owners to lock out the players and try to negotiate. It's a little like when a football player who doesn't have guaranteed money decides to hold out, right? Or not come to practices and not looking to it's just a tool, right? Nobody likes it. It's ugly. It's nasty stuff. And I don't think that they're as far apart as they want to make us think. I think there are certain things that the owners have dug their heels on. There are certain things that the players have dug their heels on. I think the Players Association would really like to get the luxury tax cap inflated a little bit, because obviously more money in that pool without a tax is more money for them. And the thing there is that you can't really go up on that unless you have we're trying to institute competitive balance, and you will not have competitive balance when the small market teams continue to go with a payroll that's $50 million, $60 million. That's just nonsense. And so I think one of the things that they're trying to negotiate is also a floor, right? A competitive balance floor. A floor and a ceiling. And I think that makes sense. And those are all negotiating tools, but that makes sense. There's just no reason to say you're for competitive balance, and yet at the bottom end, you're letting these teams just get rid of their guys and filled a less than palatable lineup, $50 million. Some of these teams, it's just criminal that they have X amount of dollars. And, I don't think it would hurt the competition in the major leagues to have 30 teams that all had a ceiling and all had a floor.
Yeah, I think that would be I can remember back in the day when Ian Kaufman was running the Royals, he just took that money and he never spent it. He bought another house and just lived the luxury lifestyle, and he never spent the money that he got from the other clubs on talent or
No.
draft picks or anything. But you're right. I think there needs to be a floor. There does. I mean, if you're giving these teams this kind of money, they better be spending it on making their team better, investing it in players and whatever they have to do to improve and make them more competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel that way too. I think for owners, there are lots of little things in the collective bargaining agreement from the Players Association side, like free agency beginning after 5 years instead of 6, that will start to eat away at some of that $10 billion in profit that the major league owners are seeing every year. Salary arbitration earlier in a player's career, those sorts of things will start to nibble at that. And, I think that we're going to come away with a universal DH. I think we're going to come away with some floor to make the competitive balance. It only makes sense that the money that the biggest market teams who are spending the highest on payroll, that you're taking that tax and moving it to others that they have to use it, that they actually have to put it on their payroll and use it. It makes no sense otherwise. It's just a tax that doesn't get used otherwise.
I would love to see I've always been a big DH fan. I'd love to see it universal. I mean, sure, it prolongs the careers of some of the sluggers, but it does add more offense to the game. I mean, there are guys like Kershaw and Bumgarner who can hit, but I'll tell you, it's good to have 9 sticks in the lineup. I think it makes it a little bit more wide open and more entertaining for the fans. But Justin Turner would be a perfect DH. He would be a perfect DH for the.
Regrettably, I think that's all that's really left for him at this point. I think the Dodgers were really banking on that when they gave him that contract. His defense has deteriorated quite significantly. The Dodgers should be getting Edwin Rios back, so that's a nice stick, or potentially a good stick with some power that can spell Turner, and then Taylor, to bounce over there as well. Hopefully not Lux. But the Dodgers need to go out and get, I think that they could really benefit if the price is right from a guy like Chris Bryant, who can play third, who can play first, who can play the outfield, just like Taylor. To have 2 guys like that, those super utility type guys, especially with Muncy, who is probably going to be out for the whole season. It looks like. It just depends. I don't know if it's going to be the whole season, but that's typically what happens with the UCL there.
They should be able to do that. You figure they've got the money that they would have paid Seeger. They've got the money that they would have paid Scherzer. They've got and if the Bauer thing, if he's just eliminated from the payroll, they should have a little bit of money there to spend on Chris Bryant. That'd be a great pickup. What about their pitching now? They picked up Andrew Heaney. I know his act from many days of getting blown out in Anaheim. David Price doesn't seem to be the answer.
No.
Where are they going to get that depth? Or there's not much left out in the market as far as pitching is concerned.
There's Sonny Gray, right? I think he's still available.
Yeah.
Guys like that, 3rd and 4, number 3, number 4 starters. I don't know. A trade is likely the type of thing that's going to happen for them. I have no idea what their starting rotation is going to look like. If they don't sign Kenley, I think they're okay. Right? They've got Trinan, who would probably be their closer. Vesia, Gratterall, Gonzalez, Hudson, who they just signed to a 1-year deal. I think their bullpen, with some of the other little missing parts that they could, bring in, would be fine. It's that starting rotation without Dustin May to sort of be. If Dustin May was healthy, then I'd say okay, not bad. because then you could put in Gonsolin, bring up Mitch White,
Right.
you know, when he's ready. You know, the Dodgers are pretty deep, you know, but to rely on that many young arms. But you've got the you know, you've got the nucleus there with Buehler and Urias. So you know, I'm not counting on Kershaw at all for really anything at this point in his career. Them not signing Scherzer, I thought was fine. 37 years old, for, you know, $40 million a year. That's nonsense to me. Absolute nonsense. And then him saying that, you know, they didn't work him enough, and that's why his arm didn't quite have the strength and the stamina in the postseason. It's just nonsense. In 11 regular season starts, he went into the 8th 3 times. He went into the 7th 5 times, and in 3 other starts, he had complained of a tight hamstring. So I don't know where that narrative is coming from, but it's nonsense. And you know, as a Dodger fan, I resent it.
All right, Vinny. Well, thank you very much for that. I think we're going to call it a night, and it's good to get back on the airwaves, and we'll be putting out these short 10 to 15 minute blurbs as fast as we can get them out there. So keep your eyes open, your ears open, and we'll be hopefully bombarding you with shorties like this, and covering everything from I know you want to talk about the new USC coach. We'll get on to that next time. From tonight, as far as I am concerned, that would be it. And thanks, Vinny, and we are out.
Good night.
Stop.
All right, John.